First Contact and Compassion. The crimson sky of Novus 9 blazed with the aftermath of battle. Sergeant Maya Chen surveyed the desolate landscape, her breath ragged inside her helmet. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning metal and alien vegetation. Her team had been sent to assess the damage after Earth's forces had repelled an attack by the Kravax, a hostile alien species hell-bent on galactic domination. Maya's eyes swept across the field of debris, searching for any signs of life or salvageable technology. That's when she saw it. A massive, writhing form half buried under the wreckage of what appeared to be a Kravax assault vehicle. Hold position, Maya ordered her team through the comlink. She approached cautiously, her pulse rifle at the ready. As she drew closer, she realized it wasn't a Kravax soldier. The creature before her was unlike anything she'd ever seen. Its body was covered in iridescent scales that shimmered despite the grime and blood. 6 limbs ended in wickedly curved claws, and a long serpentine neck supported a head adorned with bony protrusions. The alien's eyes locked onto Maya. 4 of them, glowing with an otherworldly intelligence. It let out a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through the ground beneath her feet. Maya's team tensed behind her, weapons trained on the creature. "Sarge, what are your orders?" Private Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm. Maya hesitated. Protocol dictated they should eliminate any potential threat. But as she looked into those alien eyes, she saw something beyond the ferocity. Pain, fear, and a flicker of something that looked almost like hope. "Stand down," Maya said, her decision made. "We're going to help it." "Are you insane?" Lieutenant Harrison's voice cut in. "That thing could tear us apart." Maya ignored him, slowly lowering her weapon. "Look at it, Lieutenant. It's injured, probably left behind by its own kind. We can't just leave it here to die." She took a step closer to the alien, her hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. The creature's growl intensified, but it made no move to attack. "Easy there, big guy," Maya said softly. "We're not here to hurt you." As if understanding her words, the alien's growl subsided to a low rumble. Maya noticed a deep gash along its side, oozing a viscous blue fluid that she assumed was blood. "Rodriguez, bring the medkit," Maya ordered. "Harrison, keep an eye on our perimeter. We don't want any surprises." As Rodriguez approached with the medkit, the alien's muscles tensed. Maya placed a hand on its scales, marveling at their warmth and texture. "It's okay," she murmured. "We're going to patch you up." Working quickly but carefully, Maya and Rodriguez cleaned the wound and applied a universal coagulant designed to work on various alien physiologies. The creature remained still throughout the process, its eyes never leaving Maya. "There," Maya said, stepping back to admire their handiwork. "That should hold until we can get you proper medical attention." The alien slowly rose to its full height, towering over the humans. For a heart-stopping moment, Maya thought it might attack. Instead, it lowered its massive head until it was level with hers. A low, melodious sound emanated from its throat, not quite a purr, but something Maya instinctively understood as gratitude. "Sarge," Harrison's urgent voice came through the comm. "We've got incoming. Looks like a Kravax recovery team." Maya's mind raced. They couldn't leave the alien here to be recaptured or killed, but they had no way to transport such a large creature. As if sensing her dilemma, the alien lowered itself to the ground, its posture inviting. "You've got to be kidding me," Rodriguez muttered as Maya approached the creature. "Sometimes you've got to take a leap of faith," Maya replied, carefully climbing onto the alien's back. "Harrison, Rodriguez, cover our retreat. We're taking our new friend home." With a powerful surge, the alien rose and began to move, its gait smooth despite its injuries. Maya held on tightly, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. As they raced across the battlefield, evading Kravax fire and navigating through the wreckage, Maya couldn't help but marvel at the turn of events. She had come to this planet expecting to fight monsters, only to find an unexpected ally. Maya slid off the alien's back, facing the shocked expressions of her fellow soldiers. "Get me a secure line to command," she ordered, "and find me someone who specializes in xenobiology. We've got a lot of work to do." As the chaos of their arrival subsided, Maya turned back to the alien. Its eyes met hers, and in that moment, she felt a connection that transcended species. She had taken a risk, shown compassion where others would have shown fear, and in doing so, she had opened a door to possibilities beyond imagination. The alien lowered its head once more, touching its forehead to Maya's in a gesture that needed no translation. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human and alien, united by an act of kindness on a war-torn world. Building trust in an alien world. Weeks had passed since Maya Chen's daring rescue of the alien creature she now called Nova. The Earth Defense Force base on Novus 9 had been transformed, with an entire section cordoned off to house their unusual guest. Scientists and xenobiologists flocked to study Nova, but Maya remained the creature's primary caretaker and advocate. Maya entered the vast enclosure built to accommodate Nova's size and need for space. The alien's iridescent scales shimmered under the artificial sunlight designed to mimic Novus 9's red dwarf star. "Good morning, Nova," Maya called out, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. Nova's serpentine neck swiveled towards her, all four eyes blinking in what Maya had come to recognize as a greeting. The alien let out a low, melodious trill that never failed to send a shiver down Maya's spine. As she approached, Maya noticed Nova had arranged a series of large metal objects into a complex pattern on the floor. She recognized them as parts of decommissioned spacecraft and vehicles, items Nova had shown great interest in during their time together. "What have you been up to, big guy?" Maya murmured, studying the intricate arrangement. Nova's clawed limb reached out, gently tapping a specific part of the pattern. Maya watched in fascination as the alien began to manipulate the objects, creating what looked like a crude but recognizable model of their solar system. "Incredible," Maya breathed. She activated her wrist comm, recording the interaction. "Dr. Patel, are you seeing this?" Dr. Amira Patel's excited voice came through the comm. "Absolutely fascinating. It appears Nova is attempting to communicate through spatial representation. This level of abstract thinking is remarkable." Maya watched as Nova continued to adjust the model, adding smaller objects to represent ships moving between the planets. With a sinking feeling, she realized Nova was recreating the recent battles between Earth forces and the Kravax. "Nova," Maya said softly, "are you trying to tell us about the war?" The alien's eyes locked onto hers, and it let out a mournful sound that made Maya's heart ache. Nova's claw gently touched the object representing Earth, then swept across the model, knocking over several of the ships. I think Nova's trying to warn us," Maya said, her voice tight with sudden understanding. "The Kravax attacks we've seen, they're just the beginning." Dr. Patel's voice was grave. "If you're right, Sergeant Chen, we need to alert command immediately. This could change everything." Maya nodded, her mind racing. "I'll be right there, Doctor. Just give me a moment." As the comm went silent, Maya approached Nova. The alien lowered its massive head, allowing Maya to place her hand on its scaled snout. "Thank you," she said softly. "I know this can't be easy for you, helping us against your own kind." Nova let out a gentle rumble, nuzzling against Maya's hand. In that moment, Maya felt a surge of determination. She had trusted her instincts in saving Nova, and now that trust was being repaid in ways she could never have imagined. "I promise you," Maya said, her voice firm, "we'll find a way to end this war. And when we do, we'll make sure there's a place for you, for all peaceful Kravax who want no part in this conflict." Nova's eyes seemed to glow brighter at her words. The alien turned back to the model, using its claws to carefully rearrange the pieces. Maya watched in awe as Nova created a new configuration, one where the representations of Earth and Kravax ships were intermingled, moving together rather than against each other. A future of cooperation, Maya mused, hope blossoming in her chest. That's what you want, isn't it? Nova trilled in response, the sound filled with an emotion Maya could only interpret as affirmation. With a deep breath, Maya straightened her shoulders. All right, Nova. Let's go change the course of this war. As they made their way to the command center, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had led to this moment. She had acted on compassion, risking everything to save a wounded enemy. In return, she had gained not just an ally, but a friend who might hold the key to lasting peace. The command center was a flurry of activity when Maya arrived with Nova. Holographic displays flickered with battle plans and star charts, while officers debated strategy in hushed, urgent tones. General Octavia Reeves, the commanding officer of Earth's forces on Novus 9, turned as they entered. Her stern features softened slightly at the sight of Nova. Sergeant Chen, I hear your friend has some important information for us. Maya nodded, gesturing to the large holotable at the center of the room. Nova, can you show them what you showed me? With surprising delicacy for a creature of its size, Nova began to manipulate the holographic interface. The alien's claws danced over the controls, creating a three-dimensional representation of the solar system that put the crude model in the enclosure to shame. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as Nova's presentation unfolded. The alien showed not just the current state of the conflict, but projected future attacks. Massive fleets of Kravax ships emerging from previously unknown staging areas. This changes everything, General Reeves breathed, her eyes wide as she studied the holo display. If this intelligence is accurate, we're grossly underprepared for what's coming. Maya stepped forward. General, there's more. She recounted Nova's vision of cooperation, the possibility of peace between their species. The general's expression was skeptical. A noble idea, Sergeant, but how can we trust this information? For all we know, this could be an elaborate Kravax trap. Nova let out a low, mournful sound. The alien's claws moved once more over the holo controls, bringing up images that made everyone in the room catch their breath. They showed Kravax civilians, families, children, everyday life on their homeworld. It was a stark reminder that their enemies were not just faceless monsters, but a complex civilization with its own hopes and fears. I think, Maya said slowly, Nova is trying to show us what we're really fighting for. Not just our survival, but the possibility of a future where both our species can thrive. General Reeves was silent for a long moment, her gaze moving from the holographic images to Nova, then finally to Maya. You've taken an enormous risk, Sergeant Chen, but I'm beginning to think it might just pay off. She straightened, addressing the room. Ladies and gentlemen, we have work to do. I want new defense strategies drawn up immediately, incorporating this new intelligence. And I want options for opening diplomatic channels with the Kravax. As the command center erupted into a flurry of activity, Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her. She turned to Nova, placing a hand on the alien's scaled flank. We did it, she said softly. It's a start anyway. Nova's eyes met hers, filled with an emotion that needed no translation. Together, they had taken the first step towards a future neither of them could have imagined just weeks ago. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with obstacles and doubters on both sides. But as Maya stood there, beside this extraordinary creature who had become her friend, she knew that anything was possible. The war was far from over, but for the first time since it began, there was a glimmer of hope on the horizon. And it had all started with a single act of compassion on a battlefield, proving once again that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons, but in its capacity for empathy and understanding. Challenges from both sides. The weeks following Nova's revelations were a whirlwind of activity. Earth's military strategists worked tirelessly to fortify their defenses, while diplomatic teams scrambled to establish contact with moderate factions within the Kravax Empire. Through it all, Maya and Nova remained at the heart of these efforts, their unlikely partnership a symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation. However, not everyone was convinced. As news of Nova's presence and the potential for peace talks spread, voices of dissent began to rise on both sides. Maya stood before a panel of Earth's top military brass, her posture rigid as she faced their skeptical gazes. General Reeves sat among them, her expression unreadable. "Sergeant Chen," Admiral Zhao began, his voice stern. "While we appreciate the intelligence Nova has provided, many of us have concerns about the level of access this creature has been granted to our facilities and operations." Maya took a deep breath, steeling herself. "With all due respect, Admiral, Nova has proven to be an invaluable ally. The information provided has already saved countless lives and given us a fighting chance against the Kravax fleets. And what if it's all an elaborate ruse?" Colonel Blackwood cut in, his eyes narrowed. "How do we know this isn't just a ploy to lower our guard?" Before Maya could respond, the door to the conference room slid open. Nova ducked through the entrance, followed closely by Dr. Patel. The xenobiologist looked flustered but determined. "I apologize for the interruption," Dr. Patel said, "but Nova insisted on being here for this discussion. We've made a breakthrough in our communication efforts." The room fell silent as Nova approached the central holo display. With careful movements, the alien activated the interface, bringing up a series of complex equations and diagrams. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she studied the display. "This is incredible. Nova is showing us the principles behind Kravax faster-than-light technology. With this, we could revolutionize our own space travel capabilities." Admiral Zhao leaned forward, his skepticism giving way to fascination. "Is this verified?" "It aligns with our current theoretical models," Dr. Patel confirmed. "But it goes beyond anything we've been able to achieve. This is decades, maybe centuries ahead of our current tech." Maya watched as the mood in the room shifted. The military leaders who had been eyeing Nova with suspicion now looked at the alien with a mix of awe and cautious hope. "Why?" Colonel Blackwood asked, addressing Nova directly. "Why share this with us?" Nova turned to Maya, emitting a series of low trills and clicks. Over their weeks together, Maya had begun to understand the basics of Nova's communication. "Nova says," Maya translated, her voice thick with emotion, "that knowledge shouldn't be a weapon. By sharing this technology, Nova hopes to show that the Kravax and humans can learn from each other, grow together instead of destroying one another." General Reeves stood, her decision made. "Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this demonstration of trust deserves one in return. Sergeant Chen, you have our support to continue your work with Nova. Let's see where this road of cooperation takes us." As the meeting adjourned, Maya felt a surge of relief and gratitude. But she knew that convincing Earth's leaders was only half the battle. The real challenge lay in bringing the cry. As Maya and Nova left the conference room, their victory was short-lived. An urgent message came through on Maya's comlink. "Sergeant Chen, we have a situation." Lieutenant Harrison's voice crackled. "A group of protesters has gathered outside the base. They're demanding Nova be turned over to them." Maya's heart sank. She had known this day might come, but she had hoped for more time. "Understood, Lieutenant. We're on our way." As they approached the main gate, the sound of angry voices grew louder. A crowd had gathered, holding signs with slogans like "Earth for Humans" and "No Aliens on Our Soil." At the front of the group, a man with a megaphone was whipping the crowd into a frenzy. "That creature is a threat to our safety," he shouted. "How many of our brothers and sisters died at the hands of the Kravax? And now we're harboring one of them." Maya stepped forward, Nova a reassuring presence at her side. "Please," she called out, her voice carrying over the noise. "I understand your fear, but Nova is not our enemy. Without the information provided by Nova, we would be defenseless against the coming Kravax attacks." The crowd's angry murmurs subsided slightly, but the man with the megaphone wasn't finished. And how do we know this isn't all a trap? How do we know this Nova isn't feeding us false information to lower our defenses? Before Maya could respond, Nova moved forward. The crowd gasped, some people stumbling back in fear, but Nova made no aggressive moves. Instead, the alien lowered its massive head, eyes level with the protest leader. A low, melodious sound emanated from Nova, a sound Maya had come to recognize as one of sorrow and regret. Then, to everyone's surprise, Nova began to project a holographic image from its eyes. The image showed scenes of devastation, Kravax cities in ruins, civilians fleeing from battles. It was a stark reminder that the cost of war was high on both sides. Nova is showing us that the Kravax have suffered too, Maya explained, her voice soft but carrying in the stunned silence. This war has brought pain to both our peoples. Nova is here because it believes there's a better way, a way where we can learn from each other, grow together, instead of destroying one another. The protest leader lowered his megaphone, his expression conflicted. But how can we trust? His words were cut off by a deafening roar from above. Everyone looked up to see a Kravax ship breaking through the atmosphere, its weapons primed and ready. Panic erupted in the crowd. But before anyone could react, Nova let out a piercing cry. The Kravax ship hesitated, hovering in place. "It's okay," Maya called out, her hand on Nova's flank. I think they're here for Nova." A beam of light shot down from the ship, and a figure materialized on the ground. It was another Kravax, smaller than Nova, but still imposing. The alien's eyes scanned the crowd before settling on Nova. A series of clicks and trills passed between the two Kravax. Maya watched, her heart pounding, as Nova responded. Then, to her surprise, Nova turned to her, gently nudging her forward. "I think," Maya said, her voice shaky, "Nova wants me to meet this one." As Maya stepped forward, the new Kravax studied her intently. Then, in halting but recognizable English, it spoke. "I am Zarak," the alien said, "leader of those who seek peace. Nova has told us of your kindness, of the potential for understanding between our peoples. We come not to fight, but to talk." Maya's mind raced. This was it, the moment that could change everything. She straightened her back, squaring her shoulders as she addressed both the Kravax and the crowd of humans. "Then let's talk," she said, her voice firm. "Let's find a way to end this war, not through destruction, but through understanding. It won't be easy, and there will be challenges on both sides. But if we can stand here today, humans and Kravax side by side, then anything is possible." As murmurs of cautious agreement spread through the crowd, Maya felt a glimmer of hope. The road ahead would be long and fraught with obstacles, but they had taken the first step. And it had all begun with a single act of compassion on a battlefield, proving that even in the darkest times, humanity's greatest strength lay in its capacity for empathy and understanding. Nova trilled softly, pressing its forehead against Maya's in a gesture of trust and affection. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human and alien, united in their quest for peace. The ultimate test. The weeks following Zarak's arrival were a whirlwind of diplomatic negotiations and cultural exchange. The base on Novus 9 had been transformed into a neutral ground where humans and Kravax could meet, learn from each other, and work towards peace. Maya found herself at the center of it all, serving as a bridge between the two species. However, not everyone was pleased with this turn of events. Hardliners on both sides viewed the peace talks as a betrayal of their respective causes. Tensions were high, and the threat of sabotage loomed over every interaction. Maya stood in the newly constructed Interspecies conference room, watching as human and Kravax delegates filed in. Nova and Zarak flanked her, their presence a constant reminder of how far they'd come. "Are you ready for this?" General Reeves asked, joining Maya at the front of the room. Maya nodded, though her stomach churned with nerves. "As ready as I'll ever be, General." As the delegates took their seats, an uneasy silence fell over the room. Maya stepped forward, her voice steady as she began to speak. Welcome, everyone. We're here today to take a crucial step towards lasting peace between our peoples. It won't be easy, but I believe that together, we can forge a future that benefits us all. She was about to continue when a commotion at the back of the room caught her attention. A human delegate had stood up, his face contorted with rage. "This is a farce," he shouted. "We can't trust these monsters. They've killed millions of our people." Before anyone could react, the man pulled out a concealed weapon. Time seemed to slow as Maya saw him aim at Zarak. Without hesitation, Nova lunged forward, shielding Zarak with its massive body. The weapon discharged, and Nova let out a pained roar as the blast hit its side. Chaos erupted in the room. Security personnel rushed in, quickly subduing the attacker. But Maya's focus was entirely on Nova, who had collapsed to the ground, blue blood seeping from its wound. "No, no, no," Maya muttered, rushing to Nova's side. She pressed her hands against the wound, trying to stem the flow of blood. "Stay with me, Nova, please." Zarak knelt beside them, its normally stoic features twisted with concern. "Nova saved my life," it said, its voice filled with awe. As medical teams rushed in, both human and Kravax, Maya felt a hand on her shoulder. She looked up to see General Reeves, her expression grave. "Sergeant Chen," the general said, "I need you to address the delegates. This incident, it could destroy everything we've worked for." Maya hesitated, torn between her duty and her concern for Nova. But as she met Nova's eyes, she saw determination there, a silent encouragement to continue their mission. With a deep breath, Maya stood and faced the shocked delegates. "What you've just witnessed," she began, her voice shaking slightly, "is the very reason we're here today. Violence, mistrust, these are the enemies we must overcome. Nova, who many of you once saw as a threat, just risked its life to save another. Not because Zarak is Kravax, but because Nova believes in the peace we're trying to build here." She paused, looking around the room. Human and Kravax alike were watching her intently, the shock of the attack giving way to something else, a dawning realization. "We have a choice to make," Maya continued. "We can let this incident drive us apart, or we can use it as proof of what we can achieve together. Nova and Zarak have shown us that trust and cooperation are possible, even in the face of violence. Now it's up to us to follow their example." As Maya spoke, she saw something change in the room. The tension began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of shared purpose. Human delegates were helping their Kravax counterparts to their feet. Kravax medics worked alongside human doctors to treat Nova's wound. Zarak stepped forward, its voice resonating through the room. "On behalf of my people, I extend our deepest apologies for the pain we have caused. We came here as conquerors, but we have learned that there is more strength in unity than in domination. Let Nova's sacrifice be a turning point. Let us build a future where such acts of violence are no longer necessary." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Even the most skeptical delegates seemed moved by the day's events. As the medical team stabilized Nova, Maya felt a glimmer of hope. The attack had been a stark reminder of the challenges they faced, but it had also shown the true strength of the bonds they were forming. General Reeves approached Maya, a rare smile on her face. "Well done, Sergeant. I think we might just pull this off after all." Maya nodded, her eyes never leaving Nova. "We have to, General. For Nova, for all of us. The alternative is unthinkable." As the delegates began to discuss concrete steps towards peace, Maya knew that the real work was just beginning. But for the first time since the war began, she believed that a lasting peace was truly possible. The ultimate test had come in the form of violence, but it had been met with an even greater force: the power of compassion and self-sacrifice. In saving Zarak, Nova had not just protected a single life, but had shown both humans and Kravax the path forward. As Nova's eyes met hers, Maya saw not just pain, but pride and determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human, Kravax, and everything in between. The road to peace would be long and difficult, but they had taken the first crucial steps. And it had all begun with a single act of kindness on a battlefield, proving once again that even in the darkest of times, hope could flourish and understanding could triumph over fear. A new understanding. In the months that followed the attack, the peace negotiations progressed at a rapid pace. The incident had served as a wake-up call for both sides, highlighting the urgent need for mutual understanding and cooperation. Maya, Nova, and Zarak found themselves at the forefront of this new era of interspecies diplomacy. On a crisp morning, Maya stood on a newly constructed observation deck overlooking the sprawling metropolis that had sprung up around the original Earth base. The city was a testament to what could be achieved through cooperation, a harmonious blend of human and Kravax architecture, teeming with life from both worlds. Nova approached, its wounds long healed, and stood beside Maya. The alien's presence was a comforting constant in a world of rapid change. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Maya mused, gesturing at the city below. "A year ago, I never would have thought this was possible." Nova trilled softly in agreement, its eyes reflecting the shimmer of the city's crystalline spires. Their moment of reflection was interrupted by the arrival of Zarak, accompanied by a delegation of human and Kravax officials. "Sergeant Chen," Zarak greeted, its command of English now fluent after months of intensive cultural exchange. "The council is ready for your presentation." Maya nodded, taking a deep breath to steady her nerves. Today was the day they would present their most ambitious proposal yet, a joint human Kravax deep space exploration mission. As they made their way to the council chambers, Maya couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. The halls were filled with humans and Kravax working side by side, their once insurmountable differences now a source of strength and innovation. The council chamber fell silent as Maya took her place at the podium, Nova and Zarak flanking her on either side. "Distinguished members of the council," Maya began, her voice steady and clear. "A year ago, we stood on the brink of mutual annihilation. Today, we stand united, ready to embark on humanity's greatest adventure." She activated the holographic display, showing the sleek design of a new class of starship, the perfect fusion of human ingenuity and Kravax technology. "The U.S. Harmony," Maya continued, "represents more than just a technological achievement. It is a symbol of what we can accomplish when we set aside our fears and embrace our differences." As Maya outlined the mission parameters, a 5-year journey to explore uncharted regions of the galaxy, she saw the excitement building in the eyes of both human and Kravax council members. "This mission will not only expand our scientific knowledge," Maya said, her voice filled with passion, "but it will also serve as a beacon of hope for other species we may encounter. We will show the galaxy that peace is not only possible but preferable to conflict." When she finished her presentation, the chamber erupted in applause. Even the most conservative members of the council seemed swayed by the potential of this joint venture. As the council voted unanimously to approve the mission, Maya felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She turned to Nova, remembering that fateful day on the battlefield when she had made the decision to save a wounded enemy. "We did it, Nova," she whispered, placing a hand on the alien's warm scales. "We really did it." Nova's response was a gentle nuzzle, a gesture that needed no translation. In the weeks that followed, preparations for the U.S. Harmony's maiden voyage moved at a breakneck pace. Maya found herself appointed as the mission's commander, with Nova and Zarak serving as her chief advisors. On the day of the launch, Maya stood on the bridge of the Harmony, marveling at the seamless integration of human and Kravax crew members. As the countdown began, she felt a sense of profound gratitude for the journey that had brought them to this moment. "All systems go, Commander," her human first officer reported. "Warp drive primed and ready," added her Kravax chief engineer. Maya took a deep breath, her hand resting on Nova's flank for support. "Let's make history," she said, her voice filled with determination. Engage. As the U.S. Harmony lifted off, soaring into the stars with the hopes and dreams of two once warring species, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had led to this moment. It had all started with a single act of compassion on a war-torn battlefield. A reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human capacity for empathy and understanding could light the way forward. The Harmony streaked across the sky, a shining symbol of what could be achieved when fear was replaced with trust, and enemies became friends. As they left their solar system behind, Maya knew that whatever challenges lay ahead in the vast unknown of space, they would face them together, human and Kravax, united in their quest for knowledge and peace. And as the stars streaked by, Maya realized that they had achieved something far greater than ending a war. They had forged a new understanding, a new way of seeing the universe and their place in it. In saving Nova, she had not just saved a life, but had opened the door to a future brighter than any of them could have imagined. The adventure was just beginning, and the best was yet to come.